My name is Coralita Parks. I have been attending St.Michael and All Nature's Anglican Church since the early 70s. I lived here in Diego Martin for a number of years, and then I had to move out of the area. And when I relocated, I started back to attend this church. I was married here. My daughter was christened or baptized at this church, and working and attending St. Michael and All Nature's Church has been a real joy to me. I enjoyed coming here, and up to the present time I still like St. Michael's as my church. When I started attending this church, Father Matthew Gray was the rector in charge, and when he retired from this church, Father Ruhim took control of the area. Father Ruhim was in charge of this church for quite a number of years. Two of the main things that Father Ruhim accomplished were a trip to Guyana for members of the congregation. The second thing was the refurbishment of pews in the church. And when he retired, Father Ashton Gomez took charge. One of the things that Father Gomez did was to introduce Christmas caroling in the neighborhood, much to the delight of residents and members of the church choir. I became involved in lay ministry in the church. And to me, it was a very enlightening and rewarding ministry. I served at the altar with whichever rector happened to be present at the time, and that started happening since the days of Father Matthew Gray. So I've been involved in church work in many other different ways. I've been appointed as the chairperson of a committee which sought to refurbish the pews in the church. Also, I was involved in the Environmental and Beautification Committee, which Father Gomez found that the church needed a little sprucing up, not only on the inside but also on the outside. And so a committee was formed which sought to beautify the outside of the church, like planting flowers and various other little things which made the ground seem more family friendly. A suggestion had been made that we should get involved in having prayer breakfast in the parish community. And so I was appointed as a member of the committee which did the first prayer breakfast, and subsequent to that, 2 other prayer breakfasts I was involved with. I was also involved in the vestry. I served in the vestry for 3 years, and during that time I attended the synods, diocesan synods, and was also secretary of the vestry. My most memorable experience in the church was when I became a lay minister. Myself and 2 other candidates from this church were accepted into lay ministry when we went to St. Thomas Church in Chaguanas, and Bishop Calvin Bess, with a very simple ceremony, accepted us to be lay ministers. My other memorable moment is when I graduated from Hodgington College with a diploma in theological study. The ceremony was held at St. Michael's Church as a service of evensong, which was conducted by the principal of Hodgington College, Dr. Ian Rock. It commenced with a procession from the church hall into the church, and it looked so lovely with all the candidates streaming from the church hall into the church. To me, it was a grand ceremony, at the end of which there was the distribution of certificates. We also had a number of speeches and the distribution of gifts as well. Structural changes in the church have remained more or less the same, except for the changing of the roof and the installation of the Garden of Peace. Members participate in services held online. And that is one thing that COVID really taught us. Many of us were not really around with the computer and how to really follow online with a service. And because we were put in such dire straits, either no church, the only way to access it was through modern technology. Many of us were forced to get involved, or further involved, I should say. And in the future, that's what I see for us in the future as a church. Many things which we did in person will have to be done online with the use of our modern technology. With regard to the growth of the church since its consecration 50 years ago, one thing I would like to make mention of is the use of younger lay ministers. Formerly, lay ministers were of a certain age and a certain vintage, but now I can see many more lay ministers, many more younger lay ministers taking part in the life of the church, and young people being more interested in the life of the church to see what happens in the church and where they can help. And I hope with modern technology and younger priests and lay ministers, we will see progress, more progress in the life of the church.